here for Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, ladies and gentlemen, is going to receive the Arnold Classic Lifetime Achievement Award. So, Jay, I wanted to ask you, because when you put it into context and you look at the adoring fans here at the Arnold Classic, you look at everything, obviously, that Arnold Schwarzenegger has built up, everything you built up for your bodybuilding career. What does the Lifetime Achievement Award mean to you?
Man, it's a lot of great memories of the beginning to the midway to obviously the battles. Without you, Ronnie, it wouldn't have been possible. So, you know, and to be handed that by my idol, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, we all looked up to Arnold at one point, and you know, to be able to be involved in the industry and be able to have this length of a career is a true honor. To see all these faces come out every year, the new faces, and that continuous support that the community gives, it's truly overwhelming.
Well, Ronnie, I wanted to ask you because, oh, there we go. Look at me making Ronnie Coleman's live. How about that? Big honor for me. Ronnie, in 2021, there we go. Look at that. Everybody here in the house to see two of the biggest bodybuilding legends this sport has ever seen, and truly two of the biggest reasons that everybody here in this arena are here. And Ronnie, I'm going to start with you on that note, because, you know, year in, year out, you make these appearances, you're up here on stage, facing your adoring fans. Do you ever wake up and think to yourself, is this real life, that I have touched so many lives, I have inspired so many millions of people who want to get in the gym, better themselves, and who look up to me?
Well, just about every other day, sometimes every day. I can still remember winning my first Mr. Olympia. You know, for somebody like me, got into the sport of bodybuilding just to get a free membership to the gym, I have to almost pinch myself every single day. And every single day is a day of amazement, a day of excitement. And people always wonder why, you know, I'm always in a good mood. I have no reason whatsoever to be sad on any occasion, no matter what happens. When you live in a dream, that's what it feels like. It's the greatest day of your life, every single day. And it don't get no better than that.
Well, Ronnie, I wanted to ask you, because in 2021, like Jay tomorrow night's going to receive the Arnold Classic Lifetime Achievement Award, you received that in 2021. And the reason I wanted to bring it up, because, you know, for all that you've achieved in bodybuilding, I still remember that night, you're giving your acceptance speech, and you had such emotion on your face. What did that honor mean to you, and how much did it mean to you to see Jay receiving that same award tomorrow night?
Well, I don't know if Jay feels the way I do about it, but I feel like that was one of the most important, most amazing award I could receive. Winning the Olympia was, you know, was truly an honor. Truly, for me, it was unexpected, something I thought would never, ever happen. But winning that, being awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award was right up there with winning the Olympia, as far as I'm concerned. And like I said, for me, and the person I am, and where I came from, I'm living a dream each and every single day. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's always going to be that way, you know. There's nothing, I don't think, in this earth that can bring me down or bring me to a point where I'm not extremely happy and glad to be here.
Jay, I wanted to talk to you about this specific topic, because again, when you talk about Jay and Ronnie, it's almost to the point of Kobe, LeBron, Kobe, Steph. You don't need to even mention the last name. This is the greatest rivalry in all bodybuilding, and really in the annals of sports in general. Jay and Ronnie is just synonymous for great in terms of rivalries. Jay, when you reflect back on some of the memories, some of the battles, the progression of this rivalry. You grew up essentially in your bodybuilding life idolizing Ronnie, then having to compete against Ronnie, going through a cycle of bitterness. He's your rival, but now the relationship that you two co-share in a sense is one that is on an inspirational platform. Talk to us in a capsule about this rivalry between you two.
I mean, it goes way back. I mean, we traveled a ton together. We would train together. We were other backstage. I mean, we were in separate rooms and we were gunning for the same prize. And as you know history, Ronnie won a lot more than I did when I thought I should have won one or two. And
wait, which years are we talking about here? Here's your YouTube title right here.
Ronnie said he was never threatened, but he looked nervous a couple of those announcements, huh, Ron?
Oh yeah.
He's just being nice. He doesn't admit to that very often, but you know, with the friendship that we built, the magazines always made us kind of go against each other, and they always expected us to be kind of enemies. And the truth was, is he inspired me. And as everyone knows, Ronnie trained harder than everyone. And in fact, when we trained together, and Ronnie would say, look, we're doing legs tonight on Friday night. We used to land, and he wanted to do legs at 10 or 11 or at midnight. And I'd be like, damn, I'm tired, but Ronnie Coleman's doing legs, and he's sitting in the corner. And I'm not kidding you, he'd go up and be like plate after plate, 5 plates, 6 plates. He'd squat up to 6, 7 plates a side. I quit at 4. But Ronnie, there was no one in the gym at that time. They would close the gyms, they would let us train, and when they talk about the training when no one is looking, that's what he was training for. So I knew I was up against something extraordinary. I constantly say, the greatest bodybuilder of all time is sitting right next to me as we speak. And there'll never be another Ronnie Coleman, so no disrespect to the champions today. I beat the greatest bodybuilder of all time.
Yeah, buddy.
During your years at the top, obviously, you know, before Jay finally won, you had to hold off that challenge of Jay Cutler. Talk to us about how Jay pushed you to maybe a level of greatness that you didn't maybe sign up for initially.
Well, when you're on top, you just about anything to stay on top. And I knew I had guys like Jay and some other guys that were trying to get on top like me. So I was constantly working hard each and every single day. And I was always thinking in the back of my mind that there's no way I'm giving this up. So I pushed myself because of these guys to go harder and harder each and every single year, each and every single day. Because like I said, I'm not about to give this thing up now. Especially, you know, all the hard work and dedication that I put into it. And of course, everybody wants to win, but there can always only be just one. So with that in mind, I'm constantly living bodybuilding 24/7. And I'm always thinking that this is something I gotta do to stay on top. And for the most part, I stuck to my guns and I always did what I had to do to stay on top.
But specifically, when you looked, when Jay was on your tail, when you were competing against him, when you reflect back on Jay Cutler, your rival, what made Jay Cutler so great?
Whatever it takes to be great, and Jay knows exactly what he needs to do, just like I know exactly what I need to do. But we're all doing pretty much the same thing, you know. We're working hard, thinking bodybuilding 24/7. We're doing the same thing day after day. We all know you gotta be dedicated, you gotta be motivated. You gotta make a ton of sacrifices. And you gotta persevere because there's always something, you know, trying to stop you. You know, if it ain't a sickness, some kind of injury, you know. So you always gotta persevere. You always gotta be faithful and keep the faith. Yeah, you always gotta believe in yourself, but I think passion is the most important thing, because if you don't have the passion, it's kind of hard, you know. I always say that if you have passion for something, you never really work a day in your life. And a lot of times people always ask me how I was able to work full-time for the police department and do bodybuilding. That's because I had a lot of passion to do both of them. I look forward to going to work each and every day because I knew it was going to be a good day. But of course, you know, the gym, nothing's better than that for me. So of course I'm looking forward to going there each and every single day. So I'd say as long as you got passion for something, you never work a day in your life. You'll do it for free for the most part. I've done both for free. I worked in the police department for free for a while. And of course, when I was an amateur, do bodybuilding for free also.
Jay, let me ask you, because, you know, we talk about dynastic champions. There was that initial moment where you finally overcame Ronnie, and you remember every little moment about it. You remember hearing your name called, having your hand raised, hoisting the Sandown trophy, but then you have to defend your title, and again, and again. What lit that fire? What motivated you? Was it fear? Was it trying to keep somebody at bay? What kept you working so hard to stay on top? Obviously, you having to eventually win your title back again after relinquishing it once.
Yeah, I mean, when it's your dream as a child, when you start training, you know, I started training at the age of 18, and just like Ronnie, we weren't immediately great when we got to Olympia stage. I was 15 out of 16 my first. I mean, he finished dead last, and to move up as much as we did to the front of the pack, we appreciate, but at the same time, it was a little bit of fear. It was fear of, you know, not having the greatness, not having the ability, letting people down at that point. Once you got on top, you were recognized, and, you know, battling him for so many years, the expectations drive you. You go in the gym every day with a purpose, and I think if you have a game plan and you attack that game plan day in, day out, listen, not every day is going to be the best days. You're going to go in the gyms, the workouts are going to be subpar from the last one. Like Ronnie said, there's a lot of obstacles and a lot of adversity you might have to push through, whether it's injury. I mean, look at the injuries he's pushed through. I mean, he blew his disc out way before even retirement. I mean, he's battled through. And like he said, he's still training. If you guys follow us on social media, you know we still train almost more than everyone else that's competing now. So we love it.
So that's kind of where I wanted to go next, because, you know, when we talk to you both, you have such a joy, such a passion for the art of training. Now, for those that may be unaware of Ronnie's story, Ronnie was a standout college football player and was getting looks from the NFL. Suffered an injury, and the rest is history. But you got your start training at Metroflex. At Metroflex, and the owner of the gym, Brian Dobson, said to Ronnie, "Hey, Ronnie, look, if you compete," look, this is a funny quote. He goes, "You could be Mr. Olympia one day." Ronnie goes, "That's great." What's that? He had no idea. But he said, "Look, if you compete, you get to train at my gym for free." And it's legendary as far as when we hear about your training regimen. So for everybody here, we all train in our own way, our own shape. What was it about the art of training, the hardcore art of training, that drew you to bodybuilding and that remains with you to this day?
Well, you just said it. It was that free membership to the gym. When I first went to Metroflex, the first day I walked in the gym, Brian saw me, he's like, "Man, you got a pretty good physique there." It's like, "You compete?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, I've never competed." He's like, "Man, you should think about competing one day." I'm like, "No, that's okay. You know, I can get this job at the police department." And I heard a lot of things. I heard a lot of bad things about, you know, bodybuilding where I'm from. It's like, no, it's not that bad. Well, the second day I came in there, he still approaching me, trying to convince me to do bodybuilding. I'm like, "No, Brian, I told you yesterday diet. You know, me worked for the police department. My background, I've never been interested in no kind of diet. You know, I like eating hamburgers and pizza, all the good food that's not good for you. But this went on for about another 2 days when he tried to convince me to compete. And he finally said, I tell you what, it's like there's a show coming up in about 3-4 months away. He's like, I give you a free membership to the gym if you compete. But you know me, I'm like, dude, you should have led with that. Back then I was struggling real bad, having a hard time paying a lot of bills. That's how I got into the sport of bodybuilding, a free membership to the gym. And I can still remember to this day, in 1997, I normally do spring shows in May, June, whatever. This year, 97, I decided, you know, I'm gonna switch it up and try something different. So I did, I guess, runner shows. I went to the IRONMAG, my first time ever doing it. I placed okay, but I wasn't real happy about the people that placed in front of me. One of them being a short guy, real short. But he's a good bodybuilder.
You're talking about Lee Priest.
Yeah, we're talking about Lee Priest. Lee is here. Like, wait a minute. He's about 5'1", maybe 200 pounds, and I'm 5'11", about 250.
And there's an excerpt from the book about Lee Priest, and when he heard that his name was being called ahead of Ronnie, kind of looked back and Ronnie had this smile on his face, and he remembers that to this day.
Yep. But we go on to the next show, the Arnold Classic. And this is my first time ever being in the Arnold Classic. You know, the Arnold Classic is an invitation only show. For like 2 or 3 years, you know, I was turned down and they wouldn't let me do it. They didn't invite me. But this being 97, you know, I worked my way into a little popularity. And we're going to the show and Lee Priest beat me again. Right now, I'm post-depression. I get back to my room, you know, I started thinking, I don't really need bodybuilding. I got a police department, you know, I'm making good money there, and, you know, I got good benefits and everything. I look at my girlfriend, I tell her, thinking, you know what, I'm done with this bodybuilding thing. I don't need this, you know, this is not really meant for me. Especially when you got guys like beat me, and I don't think she beat me. And she looked at me and she said, boy, shut up. You know, I thought about it for about 2 seconds. I was like, damn, you're right. If I quit bodybuilding, I lose my free membership to the gym. So, of course, I didn't quit. I continued on because I didn't want to lose my free membership to the gym.
Free membership and about 8 Olympia titles, not a bad deal. But Jay, talking about training in general, I was actually watching your podcast last week where you were previewing the Arnold Classic, and I remember you were talking about a story about during your competition days, again, you got into the sport for the love of training. You love to go in, you love to challenge yourself, but during competition season, dieting for a show, obviously that was going to detract from what you were able to do with the gym. Talk to us about, you know, sort of the cycle as far as training, getting into bodybuilding, being a top-end bodybuilder, and now how you've maybe evolved in terms of your own practice and joy for training.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I started training at 18, I joined the gym because I just wanted to have a better body, and to be honest, when I got in there and I was training about 2 hours a day at the time, which was probably too much, but I lost myself in the weights. I didn't think about any stress. I was going to college at the time, and I was a little uncertain what I wanted to do. I think at 18, you're expected to know what you want to do the rest of your life, and during that time in the gym, it was just, there was nothing else like it. So you know, it was addicting, and of course, you know, your arms get bigger, your bench press starts going up. That's what kept me motivated. And eventually someone did the same thing. They offered me a membership to actually compete in a local contest. I did that, I did extremely well, and I was hooked from then, just to have the crowd applause and the lights and everything else. But the one thing that we all go through, and it's the rigorous dieting, the consistent training, sometimes it's hard for motivation. I think the hardest part, if you'd ask myself or Ronnie, would be the nutrition factor, meaning how much food we had to eat as we got bigger, and then of course those hungry nights where you had to sacrifice. I mean, 2 hours of cardio a day a lot of times, no matter where we were traveling to. Obviously, once we got more successful, we had the ability to restrict the travel, but the result was there, and I think that once you get the notoriety and are on a level, the expectations and your visibility gets a little easier to go through that day-and-day rotation. I'll tell you one thing, I don't miss the stage as much now because I'm able to enjoy this side of it, you know, having the fan response and really giving motivation. You never imagine when you start training at 18, coming from a super small town, I know you can think the same thing, we never thought we would be that good. I mean, I never thought I would be Mr. Olympia. I know some people say I had this vision board and I knew I was going to get there. No way, I never thought I could be the next, after Dorian Yates and watching, you know, Lee Haney and then of course this guy. I never thought I had that ability until I actually stood next to him. I was second for the first time, and that's the first time I realized I could actually win this thing. Unfortunately, I had to battle him to get to that point. And then as many of you know, I lost the title to Dexter Jackson, same thing. I never thought that little guy would beat me. No disrespect to Dexter, and then of course I won it back, was able to win 2 more, and then Phil Heath came behind me, won 7, and obviously that's motivation for everyone, but I still train with the passion because I love it, but it's at leisure now, and it's recreational.
Well, you mentioned it, you're from a small town in Maine. You had your upbringing, and you know, again, Ronnie's story is so well documented in terms of suffering an injury during his college football career, and then eventually what led him into the weight room, that musty smell as he described it, you know, the joy of training, and then eventually his body responded. For you, at what point did you realize you were good? At what point did you realize you could stand on stage with the world's best bodybuilder?
About 6 months after I started training, when I joined the gym, I'd ask everyone, how do you do this? And no one gave me the time of day, and then 6 months later, I was bigger than everyone in the gym. So then everyone started coming to me, and I'm like, wow, I actually have something here. And of course, becoming a teenage national champion at 19, that was definitely, wow, I can do this, and then, you know, the rest is kind of history.
Ronnie, we obviously always talk about your gregarious nature, fun-loving nature when it comes to bodybuilding, when it comes to fan interactions, but I want to go back to when you were in the prime of your career. You had showmanship that I don't know if it really applies to too many bodybuilders. I feel as if when bodybuilders are up there, it's kind of a business venture. They're there to display their physique. You walk out onto the stage with a literal crown on your head. Where did that come from? Did somebody suggest that? Did you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to be a little different. I'm going to bring the joy of bodybuilding onto that stage and show my personality.
No, it was one and only year that they allowed us to do props. And I was thinking, like, what can I come out with? Well, before we had that show when they allowed us to use props, I had a magazine shoot, Muscle and Fitness, and they had me, you know, they put somewhat of a crown on my head and gave me this big chain with the number 7, so my 7th win, and that's where pretty much I got the idea. You probably can bring this to the stage, and that's exactly what I did. And like I was saying earlier, you know, passion is what this sport is all about, as far as I'm concerned. long as you got passion for something, you never really work a day in your life. So I'm always looking to have fun, looking for excitement, something, you know, that I can do something different and stand out, and something that I know for sure I'm gonna love doing what I'm doing. And so I always looked at it from a standpoint of, if I'm not having fun doing what I'm doing, I don't need to be doing it. So that's what you see when you see me up on stage. I'm there to have fun, but at the same time, I'm there to kick some ass too.
Well, you didn't know at the time, there were no props allowed.
Yeah.
So you were able to come out in a robe and a prop, and I was like, wait a minute, this is illegal in our posing, but Ronnie Coleman was allowed to do it because he was the king.
Well, Jay, we're talking about the on stage, the signature and on stage. Your signature shot was the quad stomp. What is the origin of the quad stomp? Was that someone suggested? Was it something you were going through, like Ronnie said, in a photo shoot or in a posing session? Somebody was like, holy crap, that's literally your shot. Where did that come from? And at what point did you say to yourself, I'm about to unleash this on the audience?
Honestly, I was looking down at my leg to make sure I still had cuts in my leg like that, and I looked at it, and they snapped a picture, and the quad stomp was born. So it wasn't even meant to happen. It was just one of those things where I just was, hey, make sure my legs still look good. And of course, I hit that leg, and the picture was taken, and it was born.
I'm gonna ask you something, I'm gonna ask the crowd something. Can we get a reenactment? Who wants to see a reenactment of the quad stomp? Here we go.
Come on, Jay.
This is like a mini because the legs aren't what they used to be.
Let's go, Jay. Let's go, Jay. We can't see with your clothes on, Jay.
All right, Ronnie, you're gonna be commentators here. Here we go. What do you see here? What do you see on Jay?
I got clothes on.
See, I wasn't gonna go to the extent of, all right, I'll strip down and pose down on stage here. But, you know, I wanted to talk about something else because, again, you know, both of you have your own podcasts, you have your own social media platforms, and look, you're both obviously very popular, very involved in social media, but I have to ask, because Ronnie, you always talk about, you know, again, the joy, the passion, but sort of the dedication that it takes to bodybuilding. Social media is what it is now, and it has completely revolutionized, obviously, bodybuilding and everything that comes along with it, but I want to ask you, what if social media existed during your career in the way that it did today? Do you feel as if you would have still had the same hardcore level of dedication and training? Would there have been distractions? How do you think you would have handled that?
I think I'm gonna handle it pretty good, you know, because you never know what's gonna happen until it happens. But the way things are going right now, I think I'm gonna handle it pretty good. I think it would have brought a lot more popularity for bodybuilding also. But they are what they are, and you know, we have to live with what we have.
Jay, let me ask you on that same note. You know, like I was telling you backstage, I watch your podcast, I watch your content during cardio. Why? Because there are certain voices, and I'm sure many of you can relate. If you're doing your cardio and you're listening to Jay Cutler talk, you're listening to Ronnie Coleman, you're listening to Dorian Yates, there's just something that just triggers something inside you that's gonna wanna make you train. Now, you have kind of taken on a role of an advice giver. You take us through your workouts and your vlogs, even on your podcast, again, you take us through your own career progression and how it may apply to us. At what point did you realize you could have that role as someone who's able to provide guidance to those who are so willing to accept?
I never really actually, like I said in the beginning, believed that I could be on a level where that many people would follow what I do, but I feel it's a responsibility, I mean, to now have the ability to be able to give back and kind of teach some education, and it's through experience. It's not necessarily, I mean, I guess you could call it opinion, but I mean, a lot of trial and error. Like, you know, I've been like at the end of the Olympia, the mid-range, and then at the beginning, so you know, I think there's a lot of knowledge that can be spit out with that, and I feel like I can relate to so many people because it wasn't just given to me. Obviously, I had to challenge myself to continually do it, but I don't think I would have been great at social media if I was in today's era because I didn't allow phones in the gym. I told people if they were training with me, no phones allowed, don't talk to me, and I'm not going to spot you. So I was very selfish with the way I trained. And Ronnie and I would train, and we wouldn't say anything to each other the whole workout. He would give a couple yeah buddies, and that was it. So nothing's changed.
Well, that was the seal of approval right there. But Ronnie, let's talk a little bit about something you and I spoke about at the Dubai Muscle Show a few months ago, and that is health, longevity, and you know, you've recently been very open about stem cell treatment and really how that's helped you, not just in a manner in which you're much more pain-free, but it's allowed you to avoid surgical procedures. Talk to the audience a little bit more about your regimen, how stem cells have helped you, and just in terms of where you are now, health-wise.
Well, stem cells truly a gift to me, and like you said, it helped me avoid surgery. One of the technologies that I think that was the best thing that could happen to athletes today. Not only have I benefited greatly from it, but I think a lot of athletes can also benefit greatly from it. Started stem cell treatment about 2 years ago. You know, I was in a lot of pain. I'm getting ready to do another surgery. But on my first stem cell treatment, first of all, it relieved a lot of pain. But I still needed to go through with the surgery. But I continued to do the stem cell treatment. And the more I did, the less surgery I needed. Now it's got to the point where I don't need it at all because stem cells have completely healed the injury that I had. And I never thought that could happen, but had it not been for the stem cells, I would be doing another surgery. You know, for sure, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Jay, when we talk about health and longevity, every 50-year-old man should look like this gentleman right here. Still look like he's very much 35 years old, and I want to know all your secrets. But one thing, you mentioned, I don't know if this was about a year ago or so, about protein intake. And I promise I won't get into too much into diet, nutrition, but I did want to ask this. What are some of your secrets in terms of now, you know, hitting 50, in terms of your diet, in terms of maybe your approach to training? But there was one thing in particular, and that was protein intake. I believe you said something effective like not going past a certain threshold regarding protein intake. How do you optimize, A, your protein intake, maybe your fat intake, but now with a diet geared towards longevity?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with working out, you know, everything in kind of moderation, right? So I believe that you should have a balanced nutrition program. I mean, I've been eating organic for quite some time, I mean, even since the Olympias, doing the blood type diet, you know, and I eat specific meat only from like a meal prep company, Trifecta, it's organic. I believe that's, you know, a lot what we eat today. You have to be careful where you're getting your protein sources from, but you know, I've steered away from a lot of red meats now, focusing more on fish and lean chicken breast or turkey. I've kind of balanced that off. I tapered down as I kind of build, but even when I was competing at the highest level, I was moderate protein, moderate carbohydrates, you know, low fat diet. So I had that great balance, but you know, I just think it's about eating, you know, what your body actually needs. And you know, for a bodybuilder, I think some guys go over extreme with the high protein because they think they're going to lose muscle, but you'd be surprised at what the body actually can consume and actually utilize and keep building and maintaining.
One last question for you two gentlemen. Between the two of you, obviously 12 Olympia titles, and since Phil Heath, the Olympia title has changed hands 5 times in 6 years. Ronnie, I'll go to you first on this one. Do you foresee another dynastic Olympia title run in the near future? Or do you think it's just going to be, there's too much quality at the top, there's too much parity amongst the top bodybuilders today?
No, I don't see it happening for maybe a while now. You know, I always go back to this stage where every era is different. You know, I had my era, Lee had his, Dorian had his, Jay had his, and Phil had his, and now it's getting different. So these guys that are coming down, they're going to have their own era also. It's just going to be real short.
Jay, take us out with this one. Again, do you foresee a dynastic Olympia title run? And then finally, you know, again, you look at the adoring fans here, and I'm always so enamored by the fact that they hang on to every word that you and Ronnie have to say. For those in this room who want to achieve greatness in whatever their endeavor is, to be a bodybuilder, to be a content creator, whatever walk of life they choose, your tips to greatness.
I would hope that there's going to be someone that can run with it for a while. But what I care about is who's going to win this show tomorrow night.
What do you got? What do you got?
I don't have a prediction. I want to see this Samson-Hadi battle. I'd love to see who's going to be in that top 3 to challenge them. I'd love to see someone like Ronnie and myself pop forward and surprise us all. That's what these shows are about. But, you know, to go into, you know, having a career and chasing your dreams, it's all about believing. It's all about working on a game plan day in, day out. There's going to be a lot of negative energy around you always that doubt your ability. Block that. Every day is progression. Move forward, believe in yourself, surround yourself with influences that are going to pick you up and drive you to be better. Like I started this whole conference, he made me better. As much as I had feelings about whether I should have or could have beat him or could have won it, should have, I said, you know what, he is my motivation. And today, looking back, without him, I wouldn't have had that pick-me-up to keep pushing myself in the gym because I knew he was training harder. There's always someone training harder, there's always someone more focused. But zone in on your goals, write your goals down every week, whether it's short-term, long-term goals. Put that on your vision board and just strive forward. Don't look back.
Well said, well said.
Well,
Jay.
Ronnie, I have to say, in the multiple times that I have the privilege of having a chance to speak to you, it is always such a pleasure, such a joy. You always have a smile on your face. To all the people here, you are such a ray of positivity. Thank you for all that you do. Keep inspiring the masses.
Pleasure is all mine.
And Jay,
Thank you guys for your support.
congratulations
Couldn't do it
again.
without you.
There we go. Tomorrow night's a big moment for you. Congratulations once again. You're going to be receiving the Arnold Classic Lifetime Achievement Award and honor that was bestowed upon Ronnie in 2021.
Yeah, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody on your feet, let's hear it for Ronnie and Jay. 12 Olympia titles between the two of them, two of the greatest to ever compete in bodybuilding. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for Ronnie Coleman.